Hi everyone, welcome to KAM'S Arcade. I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough video of the arcade, a guided tour if you will. I've added a bunch of new signage, as you notice here on the walls, new lighting effects, which is really cool, and some new experiences I'll talk about in just a moment. But here's the arcade, just a quick scan, and then I'll get into each individual machine. So I guess we'll start here. This is the Arcade Legends by Chicago Gaming. The cool thing about this is that it uses an actual CRT tube screen. So remember back in the day when this TV wasn't flat? We had these big honking screens. Well, you know, arcade machines had those in them as well. And so this machine has about 260 some odd games. The old classics, here's Galaga, you know, just Golden Tee, Gyrus, which is one of my favorites, Joust, which is awesome. It's a two-player cabinet, has the trackball as well, and you can just easily pop in and out of these games and play whichever ones you want. No quarters needed, so that's really just a fake button, but that's the best thing about having your own arcade is you don't have to actually use quarters. A kid's dream back in the 80s. Then over here is my racing cockpit. My original intent was I wanted to have a stand-up cabinet that had racing games like Outrun and Pole Position, you know, all those old style games, and I wanted it to be standing up because I didn't think I had enough space. But then I found out about these racing cockpits and simulators and, you know, these wheelbases, and came with shifters and brake levers and, you know, pedals with clutches. And you can see the actual seat, you know, the racing seat. I got this really comfortable cushion, you know, with memory foam on it, so for longer sessions it's more comfortable. And I set it up with the surround sound speakers all the way around, so when you're sitting in it, you know, you can crank it up and hear the sound all around you while you play. I also set up this pedestal on the back side of it, so you can actually play other games. If you notice the Xbox sign at the top, it actually runs off an Xbox, so I can play technically any game that runs on Xbox. You can see the brake lights and the license plate and the exhaust tips here as well. Wouldn't be complete without all that. And then you can see over here is the Xbox Series X that I have. And I'm a big Dead or Alive fan. Love that game. I love the artwork, so wanted to dress it up with my favorite game, one of my favorites. So yeah, so this is really fun experience. It's very immersive, and I definitely recommend getting one of these if you're into racing games. And then my other recommendation is you got to get a virtual pinball machine. This thing is absolutely awesome. I bought this last year from a builder. It's an old, restored, like 1977 Bally cabinet that was used to create this virtual pinball machine. And the great thing about virtual pinball is instead of having the space needed to have all these different machines, you can basically have one machine with hundreds of games. I have 329 virtual pinball games here. You can just kind of see the different ones. Some of them are old classics, some of them are the newer ones, some of them are games created by a really fantastic community of folks that are specifically designed for virtual pinball. And when I say a fantastic community, I'm not lying. I mean, these games are made by just pure fans of pinball. They do it for the love of pinball. They don't make money off of it, and they share it with everyone. And yeah, so I mean, I guess technically they don't own the trademarks or anything, but they're not making any money off of it. It's just really a fan-driven, community supported hobby, and I love it. It's just absolutely awesome. Over here is a cabinet that I have with a X-Arcade tank stick. You see on the top of it, I have this gun controller sitting on top, and the reason for that is it has a PlayStation 3 that sits on top of it, and I have it connected and it's for light gun games. So here's the Sony Move controller with the light attachment on there. You'll see the camera that it uses there to track your movements. And yeah, you play these light gun games here. And I have 2 of these guns. And so, you know, you can play with a friend cooperatively and have a really fun time. I really love the light gun games. The other cool thing about this cabinet is I have a PC underneath it, inside of it. And I can play all those old arcade games, fighting games, and you name it. I can do that here as well. It has a 27-inch screen, high definition. It's a lot of fun. And along those lines, same thing here. This is the AtGames Legends Ultimate. This is something you can buy in the stores. And it comes like with 300 games out of the box. You can add so much more to it. They have this front end called CoinOps X, which is not something AtGames makes, but it is something that is also a community-driven thing. And it allows you to have all these old ROMs, so you can play all these old classic games. And it's got a very easy menu system. You just scroll to the game you want, shows you a preview, you hit the start, and it's good to go. It's a 2-player cabinet. It's got spinners for games like Tempest and Breakout and Arkanoid, which I love. It's got the trackball for Centipede, Millipede, Crystal Castles. This is really an awesome cabinet, and it's a great value for what you get. It's a little bit bigger than the arcade 1-up cabinets, which are 3/4 scale. This is what I would consider kind of a full size or almost a full size cabinet. 24-inch screen, really awesome. Over here is a station I set up with, it's basically just a TV stand. But the cool thing is you can put whatever you want on top of it. I have here DJ Hero going. And I really love DJ Hero. It's a blast to play. I have 2 of those controllers so you can play side by side with a friend. It runs off an Xbox 360. I have an Xbox One down there. I have a Wii, which is great because I mentioned my love of light gun games. Well, guess what? I can do that with the Wii as well. With the Wii controller and the gun attachment, I can do that as well. I have a Raspberry Pi down there so I can play any arcade games. I have this wireless steering wheel controller, so there's some Xbox 360 games I can play that, you know, allow you to race wirelessly, which is awesome. That's the fight stick down there, and then there's the Oculus Quest down there, which is not really connected to this, but you can play it here in the arcade. Virtual reality games, which is fun. And I originally got this and set this up for my love of Guitar Hero and Rock Band. You notice here to the right I have the guitars and the microphone. So, you know, it's got a really good sound system with a subwoofer, and just getting around this thing with some friends and rocking out is a really fun time. So that's another experience I have here on this one. And then lastly, this is my arcade 1-up Star Wars cabinet. It's a 3/4 scale cabinet of one of my favorite games of all times when I was growing up, Star Wars. It's an old vector game, and it uses this flight yoke. It's basically an on-rails shooter, but you're kind of flying an X-Wing. The great thing about this cabinet is it comes with the sequel, Empire Strikes Back, and also Return of the Jedi, which was a different flight game that they had as well. So that game is a lot of fun, brings back a lot of memories. So yeah, so this is the arcade. You can see the wall here. I've added all this artwork here, which I love. The Pac-Man sign, which is fantastic. I get a lot of questions about the neon sign. I got that from a company by the name of yellowpop.com. It's a custom piece. Actually designed the font, worked with the designer, designed the font, showed them what I wanted it to look like, and they did a fantastic job. And that sign, by the way, it runs off LED lights. It's not really neon, although it looks like it. And it comes with a remote, and you can change the colors on it. You know, you can make it flash. cycle through the different colors. I just kind of keep things subtle with blue, but you know, when I really want to get crazy, yeah, I can kind of make it strobe with different lights. So that's KAM'S Arcade. I hope you're having a great night tonight. I'm going to go play some. I just wanted to share the latest and greatest of what's going on here in the arcade. You have a great weekend.